After 21 hours of high-stakes talks in Islamabad collapsed without a deal, US officials said their final and best offer remains on the table. But Iran has not accepted key terms, including curbs on its nuclear program. As diplomacy stalls, an unlikely quartet, Russia, China, Turkey and India, is emerging as potential mediators. Why? Let's understand. Russia, despite being engaged in the Ukraine war, has offered to mediate, leveraging its close strategic ties with Iran and ongoing communication channels with Washington. Moscow is also in touch with Gulf states, signaling an effort to reposition itself as a diplomatic player beyond the European conflict.
I want to remind you that from the very beginning, we have spoken about the need to steer this escalation back towards a peaceful course as soon as possible, to get everything back on the track of political and diplomatic dialogue and negotiations. We were pleased to hear about the ceasefire and welcome the decision not to proceed further down the path of armed escalation. Moreover, it is important that there are no strikes against peaceful targets or Iranian economic facilities. We regard this as very significant. We hope that, as reported by the media, direct contacts between Iranian and American delegations will take place in the coming days, enabling further peaceful discussions. Ultimately, each side should be able to defend its interests through negotiation rather than armed confrontation.
China has taken a more calibrated approach. With deep economic and political ties to Tehran, Beijing played a role in bringing Iran to the negotiating table after weeks of fighting, and has criticized US and Israeli actions at platforms like the United Nations, projecting itself as a stabilizing force.
Since the outbreak of hostilities in Iran, China has been actively committed to promoting peace and ending the conflict. Foreign Minister Wang Yi has held 26 telephone conversations with foreign ministers of relevant countries, and the Chinese government's special envoy for Middle East affairs has conducted shuttle diplomacy in the Middle East and the Gulf region. China and Pakistan have also jointly put forward a 5-point initiative on restoring peace and stability in the Gulf and the Middle East. As a responsible major country, China will continue to play a constructive role and make positive contributions to restoring peace and tranquility in the Gulf and the Middle East.
Turkey occupies a strategic middle ground. As a NATO member with an openly critical stance on Israel, Ankara is seen as one of the few actors acceptable to Iran while maintaining Western links. It has prior experience mediating in the Russia-Ukraine war and is looking to expand its diplomatic influence.
We have lived together in this geography for 1,000 years. As the ancient peoples of this region, our sorrow and our joy have always been shared. Today, our hearts beat together and our tears fall together. We will not surrender to the language of violence, hatred, and hostility. Instead, we will continue to uphold the universal language of love, peace, and brotherhood in our region.
India remains a limited but notable contender. It has maintained a neutral position, urging dialogue while safeguarding its national interests.
We've already conveyed to you that we welcome the ceasefire, as also it is our expectation that dialogue and diplomacy that we are emphasizing on will lead to an early return of peace in the region. As to the position of other countries, it is best left for them to speak about it.
However, the optics of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent Israel visit complicate perceptions, as failed Pakistan-hosted talks underline how mediation is increasingly becoming a contest for global influence.